Hello, Mary Mead. So, I want to review a book. The book I want to review is this one, The Green Wiccan Magical Spellbook, A Compendium of Magical Knowledge by Silja. And here's the thing. The author, her main claim to fame as it is as an column writer for, Soul and... what are they called again? It is some pretty stupid that I don't remember because I read those magazines at times. Ranging, yeah, well, it doesn't matter. She writes from New Age magazines. And it really, really shows in her writing style. More experienced occult authors tend to have more details in it. And that is really the problem with this book, the lack of details, to the point where it becomes just wrong information. So the author says that her fans of her column, and the column isn't that bad, because then they take up subjects that can be covered in this much little blurb. It's Spirits and Destiny, and Soul and Spirit. It's two basically sister magazines there, and she's the basically witchcraft author of them. Yeah. Here's the problem. When she just have a column, then you don't expect loads of details. It's just little bit of witchy tips and tricks and such, and that works great. But her fans then have asked her to make a book, and so what they wanted most was a spell book, because that's basically, I have read and enjoyed the column. They're just usually cute, but practical little spells. And so they said, can't you make a book with this? And I agree that would probably be pretty good. But she says, no, I want to make a full book on Wicca. And here is where things were starting to go wrong. Because either the woman isn't knowledgeable enough, or, yeah. So, the problem here is that she bites over so much more than she can chew. Let's have a look at the contents. You have magic and theory and practice. It tells a little bit about what magic is from her point of view, tips and tricks. And you have an introduction before that. In and of itself, this isn't a bad chapter. It goes through the bare basics, and while it definitely still have that issue of just being not enough information, it is blurbs. That's all it is. It's blurbs. At least it's fairly decent information. So, for the most part. Because we also have a little bit of issue here. We have basically she goes through magical ethics. It's very from a Wiccan point of view, but it's basically very undetailed. And she adds things that basically are not true. For example, lest it in self-defense it be, never ever mind the rule of reason. There was never a lest it in self-defense be. It's just not part of the Wiccan read. She also claims that traditional Wicca have a demand that practitioners work skyclad. They don't. It's basically a very big part of the traditional Wicca. Working skyclad is a part of it, but if you have a Wiccan coven, for example, a traditional Wiccan coven here in Norway, and you have a few actually, no, they are not going outside in the woods at Yule naked. Because if they did, we would find a lot of fucking dead witches. Because Norway gets cold. So, yeah, while working skyclad is definitely a thing, and it's definitely a part of it, it isn't some sort of ultimate thing that separates, and she basically presents that as what separates traditional Wicca from more modern versions. Yeah. But I mean, she goes through some of the basics. If you have never had anything to do with Wicca, I guess you can get some ideas from this. It's fine. But then we get to the different pagan paths, and I wish she had just ignored this one. It's basically the chapter where she makes the claim that the difference between traditional Wicca and more modern paths are just whatever or not they have a requirement for being skyclad. Nope. They basically say that Druidism is like Wicca, only it's male dominated. That's the only difference. Nope. Also, the odd section and also true here is, I guess I can't say it's directly wrong, but it's so little detail that she might as well said Swiddly Swiddly Doom Doom. Shamanism also basically no details. It's a path where people contact spirits. Yeah. Then she has the section on voodoo. And this one, just listen to this. This tends to be darker than other pagan paths and sometimes involves animal sacrifice. It also calls for worship of Roman Catholic saints. The original practitioners of this path came as slaves from Africa to the Caribbean. I mean, how does an occult author get this bullshit on print? But yes, she mentions Gerardin and Alexandrian. Basically, it's Gerardin she says, oh no, and she forgets that Alexandrian is also part of traditional Wicca, but Gerardin, the only difference is that they're skyclad all the time. Gerardin witches are always naked. I mean, yeah. And Alexandrian, she doesn't mention that the difference there is that Alexandrian Wiccan is far more ritualistic. Basically, this is what she writes about Alexandrian Wicca. Just listen to this. Alexanders was a famous Wiccan in the 1960s. He reformed Gerardian Wicca to make it more suited to the hippie culture of the time, although it is by no means a soft option. Alexandrian Wiccan tends to be more eclectic and liberal. No. For example, coven members may worship deities from different pantheons, and even new members may be encouraged to assist in rituals. Being naked is usually required for initiation rituals only. Well, because she's still on the thing that Gerardian Wiccans, they are always fucking naked. While confidentiality is expected, no oath of secrecy is taken. I mean, okay, let me just illustrate some accuracy of this information. I have eye problems. I also have a big problem when it comes to hand-eye coordination, which means that when I toss something at something, I can't hit for shit. I can toss a ball at the target and it just ends up somewhere in that general direction, I guess. But my ability to hit the bullseye, it's like I'm like some sort of Marvel superhero sharpshooter compared to her ability to actually hit her target when it comes to information. If we could put this into comparison here. Did basically Alexander's, was he a bit of a hippie? Yeah, sort of. Did he sort of reform Wicca? No, not really, but he was more on the American side. The big thing, though, is that they have taken more from ceremonial magic than traditional Wicca. Before them, they're part of traditional Wicca, but then Gerardian Wicca. Also, the difference between Gerardian Wicca and other types of Wicca is not that they are fucking naked all the time. Which she apparently thinks she hasn't ever met a Gerardian Wiccan with their clothes on. So, granted, somebody had up. Gerard Gardner's neighbors did at times complain that the man was quite fond of being in the nude. But yeah, no. And it just keeps going and going. So, yeah. Basically, somebody asked the woman, "Make us a spell book, please." And the woman said, "No, I will make you blind with my shining example of Wiccan knowledge, and I will make a beginner's guide, and I will pull it out of my anus while I'm naked like a guardian witch, and I will present it on a tray, and here you go. Observe my shit." So, yeah. All the sections in this book, other than the section about spells, are poo-poo. To say it like a 5-year-old. It is the poo. It is very nice, very, very beautiful poo. I mean, look at this book. There's all these cute drawings, and the paper quality is really nice. Feel that paper. It is nice and thick, and there's colors. I mean, you get happy looking at this book. It's beautiful. So it's really beautifully dressed up. Gorgeous poo. However, there is a bit of nice, thick cream frosting to this poo sandwich. The spells are great. Because this woman knows spells. She's really, really good at making easy to do, simple, practical spells. So if she had done what her fans wanted her to do, and just fill a book with spells like that, it would be awesome. But instead she decides to just fill it with all manner of crap. To try to make it more than what it is, a fluffy spell book. And here's the thing, a lot of people complain about fluffy bunniness. But fluffy bunnies are freaking cute. And sometimes a fluffy bunny spell is exactly what you need. Because let's just get real here, ladies and gentlemen, and others. If you have a really, really big headache, you're not going to be casting a circle and doing a half an hour to an hour ritual to get rid of it. You're going to do something nice and quick and easy to make yourself feel better. And there are spells like that. The spells are nice. They are short, they are simple, they're easy to do, they don't require tons and tons and tons of materials. They're great little spells. So the spells in here are good, and some of them I really want to try. The rest can be ignored. And the only thing with the spell section that's a little bit iffy is this. She has decided that, when you look at, for example, cookbooks, you often have a rating system. So you have, for example, 1 for this is really, really easy, and 2 for intermediate, and 3 for difficult. None of the spells is really difficult, but she has a system like that. I remember I had a sewing book when I was a little girl for making Barbie dresses. That little shoes. You had 1 shoe for very simple things, and 2 shoes for the intermediate, and 3 for you're not gonna be able to do this, bitch. Get your mother to sew this one for you. Or your daddy. Your daddy might be good at sewing things. And she has decided to incorporate that. See, she has little stars next to the spells. And the idea is actually really good for a beginner spell book. So you can see, okay, this thing here, this is really, really easy. You do that, and then you might want to hold off a little bit on this one. The problem is their system makes no sense, because there are things that are as easy as lighting a candle and saying a few phrases over it. You can literally stand there with the book there, light candle, focus a bit, out comes the words, done. And she marks that with 2 or 3 stars for difficulty, and then you have one spell that involves several ingredients that you then and then you work a ritual over those ingredients, and then you plant them, and then you put what was it? I think it was a laurel plant she wanted there. Anyway, you put a plant on top of that, and then you have to keep that plant alive for quite some time. That is a lot more difficult and involved than lighting a candle and saying a few words over that. So basically, there's no rhyme and reason. It's like she's just, oh, this one's easy, this one's difficult, that. So yeah, it makes no sense. But the spells are good. I like the spells in here. So, do I recommend this book? If you want a lot of ritual and drama and calling, watchtowers and formal ritual, then no, this is not the book for you. Let's just say that if you are into the more high ritual magic, this is not the book for you. If you, however, like me, are a somewhat lazy spellcaster and want easy and quick spells to do when I need some magic done, I'm fiddling with this necklace, it seems, then yeah, there's some really nice little spells in here. These are not the spells that you will cast when you really, really, really need to manifest money to get a new house, or you will be out on the street. These are the spells that you will cast when you feel a bit shitty and you just need to be cheered up. Or when you just try to get more abundance into your life. Or basically little spells. They are simple, easy little spells. They're good for beginners, and they're good for everyday stuff for the rest of us. So yes. Now, I got this book secondhand. It was cheap. I think I paid $5 for it. It is definitely worth that for the spells, though the rest of the information is, well, I have already said what I think about the rest of it. However, they want £12 or $19.95 for this, and it is not worth that. If you can get it cheap, get it for the spells if you like fluffy spells. Basically, if you have ever picked up a Silver Ravenwolf book and looked at their spells and thought, those are cute, I can really get some use out of that, you will like these spells. If you have picked up a Silver Ravenwolf book and thought, I cannot use this fluffy garbage, I want all my spells with watchtowers and circles and preferably sigils carved into the floor, this isn't that. So yeah, get it on the cheap for the spells, don't buy full price for it, because most of the information in there is garbage. Oh yes, and this also managed to tickle my little pet peeve. Let me show you. She has a dictionary in here. Ah yes, there we go. Right there. Silja with an I. Oh, for the love of fuck, stop that bullshit. Here's the thing. There's a lot of occult authors that think that if they just add an I instead of an I to things, it is so much more special. So you have witches and vampires. And this woman has decided you have sigils. It is a sigil. It has an I. It just has an eye. There is no sigils. It's not more fun if you just add an eye to it. So please stop that. You don't sound more mystical. You sound illiterate. Well, rant done. So, yes. I will give this 5 out of 10. You have that little core of nice, warm, whipped cream with vanilla in the center, which is the spell section, in the middle of a poo-poo sandwich. And that is my review of the Green Wiccan Magical Spellbook, a compendium of magical knowledge and misinformation by Silja, and it was published by Cool Books. I hope you have enjoyed this review. Have a great day, and blessed be.